Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the Bi-Weekly Report. The biggest news of the last 2 weeks was the launch of the first issue of the Tank Encyclopedia magazine. It features 7 yet unpublished articles made by the Tank Encyclopedia team, along with specials from the archives, the modeling world, the Queensland Museum in Australia, and our sister website, Plain Encyclopedia. This first issue is not for sale. It is offered for free to all our patrons, no matter the pledge, as a thank you for their support. If you're interested in what it looks like, there's a preview linked in the description, and if you like what you see, consider pledging on Patreon or donating through PayPal. On our archive section, we'll cheat a bit, as we haven't gotten this from an archive, but from the War Thunder Discord server, but this is simply too good to not share with you all. These 2 photos show what happens when an airplane gets a bit too acquainted with a high explosive tank shell. The shell was fired from the 75mm M6 gun of a light tank M24 Chaffee, but it did not directly hit the airplane. Instead, the shell was aimed at the small rectangular piece of wood that could be seen suspended above and in front of the plane, with the airplane itself being hit by shrapnel from the explosion. The airplane was completely wrecked, with the nose being destroyed, the right wing being broken from the airframe, and the rear of the plane also suffering substantial damage. Checkmate Plain Encyclopedia. Let's also have a look at an excellent book, The Tank War by Mark Urban. It covers the story of the British 5th Royal Tank Regiment as it soldiered through almost the entirety of the Second World War, from the hasty retreat from France, to the fighting in the desert against the Italians in the Afrika Korps, the fighting in Italy, followed by Normandy, and the dash through the heart of the Third Reich. The book focuses on the stories of a small number of notable members of the 5th RTR, or the Filthy Fifth, but also covers the various engagements the unit saw itself embroiled in, both the ones it triumphed in and the ones it ended up on the wrong side of a beating. The importance of good quality officers and NCOs, reliability problems, the paramount problem of inter-arms support, PTSD, and many other interesting topics appear in the book, which paints a vivid image of a tank unit at war during the largest conflict in history. This time around in gaming news, we're taking a look at the recent return of the Frontlines game mode to World of Tanks, and the announcement of the next episode of the game mode. With twice as many players as the typical game mode, 30 on each side, divided amongst 3 sectors of the map, Frontline promises large-scale action and combat with larger maps designed to give every class of vehicle in the game a unique role. With this 4th episode, several tweaks were made to rebalance certain aspects. The airstrike combat reserve was granted more damage and a larger blast radius at the cost of penetration, making it more likely to deal light to medium damage across several clustered vehicles. The side armor of the main objectives, which the defenders have to defend, has been increased to 180mm to discourage reckless light tank charges and encourage the attacking team to close in rather than try to engage at range. Respawn locations have also been altered to ensure that respawning players for both teams will not appear in the middle of the enemy formation and to be destroyed nearly immediately. As always, a link will be provided in the description where you can find more in-depth information about this. This week, we will be covering 2 of our articles on German tanks. The first is the Panzer Selbstfahrerlafette IC, which means Armored Self-Propelled Carriage. This specialized vehicle was designed to fill the role of a mobile self-propelled anti-tank gun by mounting a 5cm Pak-38 on the hull of a Volketten 9.01. Featuring a crew of 4, this vehicle weighed in at 10.5 tons and could travel nearly 70 kilometers an hour. Unfortunately, due to a lack of test reports, we were unable to accurately state how this vehicle performed in the field. Only 2 prototypes were built, and when the VK901 was cancelled, so too was the Panzer SFL IC. This was probably for the best, as the armament armor and equipment would have been made obsolete rather quickly given the rapid pace of technological developments during the war. This article was written by Sonny Butterworth and illustrated by Alexei Pavel, with funds from our Patreon. The second German tank we will be covering is the famous, and only, surviving Sturmpanzerwagen A7V, the Mephisto. One of 20 built, this tank was captured by Australian soldiers of the 26th Battalion in July of 1918 and subsequently transported to Brisbane, Australia. This particular tank first engaged in battle at St. Quentin on the 27th of March in 1918, where it played an important role in engaging infantry and enemy strongpoints. In April, German tanks fought in the Battle of Villers-Bretonneux, the first tank-on-tank battle in history, and during this battle, Mephisto attacked Monument Farm with 5 other German tanks. While the German attack was successful, the Mephisto became stranded in the shell crater, and the crew was forced to disable and abandon the vehicle. There, it sat in no man's land for 3 months, until on the night of July 17th, members of the 26th Battalion AIF endured heavy fire and gas to retrieve this vehicle. Eventually, it was moved to London and then Brisbane before finally being displayed at the Queensland Museum. This would become its new home, and while it traveled a little bit, endured the elements, and underwent extensive restorations, the Mephisto survives to this day, so go pay this unique vehicle a visit. This article was written by the Queensland Museum in partnership with Craig Moore the Tank Hunter, and has been illustrated by David Beaucalet. We have also published articles covering the U.S. Marine Corps improvised flail tank, the Williams amphibious vehicle, the Fraught Turmel Laffley armored road roller, and the Reyes and Nina Salvadoran vehicles. You can check them all out on our website. That's all for this report. Make sure to follow our website. We'll be releasing new articles on the regular. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Reddit. If you use Discord, there's a link to our community server in the description. And if you'd like to help us continue to develop and expand, consider donating on Patreon. All of the funds will be used to help us enhance and design new articles and features for you. I'm Nathaniel, and until next time, keep us in your sights.